So, I got a confession. The way that I review my devices, I really don't use them that way. Let's go talk about that. What's up everyone, Delvon Digital here, and this is going to be one of my most realest reviews I've ever made. If you know my man Floss, you know what I mean. Now, let's start with the battery life. Most people always talk about screen on time and this and that to the third. Now, here's the realness. I don't look at screen on time. I don't even ever know what my screen on numbers are day to day. Literally, my phone never dies. And I don't mean that I take it off the charger and I use it all day and it just doesn't die. I mean the simple fact that when I wake up in the morning time, I take it off the charger, I get in the car, put it back on the charger. Not saying that I need a charge, but I'm using Android Auto. So I'm commuting to work and I'm commuting back from work. It's on Android Auto. I get to my job, sometimes I throw it on my wireless charging dock. By the time I get off work, I have full battery. Then I put it back in the car, put on Android Auto, head back home. Or if anywhere I go, I mean, technically what I'm saying is that everywhere I go, I plug my phone up to Android Auto. So it stays with a charge every day. That's my reality. Let's talk about apps. When I'm using apps, I use the same rotation of apps every single day. Probably my banking apps, probably Lightroom maybe, all my social media apps, my camera app, just the same rotation of apps. So I really don't have any issues or problems with having these apps unless an update come out and it kind of breaks the app. And I have experienced that where like every app ever on any phone that I've used, sometimes the updates will break the app. But other than that, it's been just pretty much solid like the whole entire time as far as using apps. And I just don't do anything outside of the same apps that I use every day. And I'm pretty sure that's a lot of you. Typing experience. We talk about the typing experience on these phones a lot, but to be honest with you, since I got the Pixel, I barely type on my phone. If I'm in a private area, I'm using my voice. If I'm somewhere where people can't hear me and I'm having a conversation with somebody, I'm using my voice. I really don't type that much on my phone, but the typing experience is really good on the Pixel and probably by far my favorite typing experience, but I just don't care to type on phones anymore. I pretty much like using my voice for everything. And that's what I do 99% of the time when I'm on Twitter responding to people or any of my social medias, I'm using my voice, and that also is another reality. Let's talk about the camera. You guys been on my channel. You've seen all the photos I've taken. You follow me on social media. You've seen all the great photos I put up. Look, I'm going to be straightforward with you. I never use zoom. I never use the ultra wide, and I never use the front camera. I don't do video or any of that. I literally shoot 99.9% in RAW mode, and I use manual focus a lot. And then I edit the photos and then I post them to social media. I barely take any pictures on the main sensor that's not in RAW and just post them and share them. I love editing and shooting and all of that. I love the whole process of it. And that's what I do daily on my phone. Like literally every photo that I take, I just literally edit. I don't do the auto mode. I don't do, let Google control the processing. But if I did, I'm okay with their processing. But literally, this is what I do with my camera. So when you see a photo from Delvon Digital, it's probably edit. That's just how I like to do. I mean, I'm like my own filter, how people use filters in, Snapchat and Instagram and all that. I create my own style and then I post it to share it because I like my photos to be a certain style. And that's just how I like to perceive it. And that goes for like every phone and all of my cameras, like professional cameras as well. I shoot RAW, I edit, then I share. I have a style. I like my style better than every other company out here, so I just share me. I would say the only time that I would really use my front camera is when I'm doing meet calls with my family. I don't do selfies, I don't do videos or talks or any of that. I just literally, my people's call me on Google Meet and we just talk, and then that's it. That's about the most use out of my front camera there is. I don't care for front cameras on phones, but I see the point of having them sometimes. Reviewers talk about call quality. I never test the call quality like you would think. The earpieces on these phones are so small that, me trying to take my Pixel and aligning it to my earlobe, it just bothers me so much that I hate it. So literally every phone call that I've ever taken on my phone since like the Pixel 6 out, not even that, when I was with Samsung with the Galaxy series, back in the days, I always use Bluetooth. I use Bluetooth, and if I'm not, like if I'm in a public area, I'm using, you know, the Bluetooth. If I'm in a private area, I just put the phone on speakerphone and I either talk on speakerphone or I talk on Bluetooth. So when it comes to like call quality through the headset, it's something I never talk about on my channel because I never tested. I just kind of like don't really care, even though it's been rare occasions that I will put the phone to my ear. But most likely I got some buds in my pocket, or I'm just gonna walk away and talk on speakerphone because I just prefer that. Let's talk about messages, right? A lot of people love RCS and it's like the future and all stuff like that. Then there's the other side who talks about iMessage and stuff like that. Even when I was using my iPhone at one point in my life, which I still do own, I just don't use it, and I talk to people on iMessage, like I didn't really talk to nobody on iMessage. I literally have all of my friends and family converted to Telegram, and we kind of use that. So RCS, you know, as cool as as cool as it is, and I really want to kind of use it, like I already converted everybody to Telegram, and that's what we use. So I really never take advantage of RCS, just like I didn't take advantage of iMessage when I had it, because my peoples are okay with using a third-party app and they kind of prefer it, even my wife right now. So like that's why I don't talk about this messaging stuff. I don't care like everybody care, because I'm not talking to the world. I'm just talking to my family and friends. And as long as we're communicating, I think that's what's important to me. Cases. I talk about cases sometimes in these videos and stuff like that, but the reality is that I do love cases. Don't get me wrong, right? I love the look of them. I love the feel of them, but I really care more so for the ones that actually have MagSafe. I like to keep a case in the car, keep a case in my tech bag, and I keep cases in the house, of course. And I like to walk around with my phone with no case, but when I'm in the car, I like to put the case on and slap it on my MagSafe charging dock that's in the car. My car mount, you know what that is. But that's pretty much the gist of me using cases. Literally when I'm in the house, I just take them off. I go to work, I normally take them off, but I do keep one in my tech bag because sometimes I could get to an area where I feel like, okay, you know what, I might want to carry my case because there's a lot of people around, something like that. Somebody might bump me, drop my phone. So I do put a case on based off situations, but every day keeping a case on my phone, no. I definitely don't do that. I'd rather put a skin up there and just be out here dangerous. Of course, I have insurance. Of course, I can afford to pay for the insurance if it broke. So it's not really like, oh, there's my phone drop and I can't afford to pay for it. I mean, I believe in like, you know, if you can't afford, or, you know, if you don't really want to spend that money, then you put a case up there to be a little extra, you know, security for yourself. But I don't mind, and I'm very careful, but it's not like I want the jank to break and act like I'm rich. I'm not, but I can afford it. That's kind of like the gist of what I'm trying to say. So I don't really care for cases. When it comes to charging my phone, I really, like I said before, with battery, I charge it at work, I charge it in the car, I charge it at home. At home, I fully use wireless charging. I don't use any type of wired charging. In the car, I do use wired charging because I don't have wireless, Android Auto. I kind of don't want it anyways. I prefer the cord way anyways. But yeah, so it charges that way. But sometimes I like to put on my MagSafe dock and charge it that way when I'm not using Android Auto. But 90% of the time, like I said, I'm plugging my phone up a lot when I'm commuting back and forth, going to a store, going to Walmart, traveling to Busch Gardens, if y'all know what that is, in Water Country, theme park, skating ring, just traveling anywhere. It's always going to be wired in the car mostly of the time. And when I'm at home, it's on the wireless charging dock. I got docks in the studio here, docks in the room, and docks up front. So I got like Pixel stands everywhere, and I just slap my phone up there, charge it. So as a Pixel owner, there's a few reasons why I stick to the Pixel, but we're gonna get into that in a second. I wanna talk about Apple and Samsung's ecosystem right now. There's a lot of reasons why people would choose like Apple's ecosystem and Samsung's ecosystem. They got a lot of great features like universal control, AirDrop, quick share, handoff, DeX, and Stage Manager. And that's just naming a few. And then when you look at Google, it's like they don't have anything that can actually match that when it comes to the fluidity and the connectivity of the ecosystem, and all the words that everyone loves to talk about when it comes to ecosystem, especially with Apple, everyone using them.
But I found these results on search.
Especially with Apple and everyone using them as the standard of what an ecosystem should be. I don't believe in that. So I love Google's ecosystem better. It's the only ecosystem right now to me that makes more sense. And let me explain that real quick. Now, Apple and Samsung's ecosystem, I feel like I have to work. I feel like I have to actually do some type of work to really take advantage of their ecosystem using like stuff like universal control, or with Samsung, when you move your cursor from the phone to the tablet, or using the tablet, the phone to pick up your color palettes to draw and stuff like that. And Apple Stage Manager and all of this stuff, it feels like it has to be some type of work environment. Now, the reason why I like Google's better and I prefer it is because it's the only one that feels real to me. So basically what I'm saying is that when I walk into the house, I say, hey, turn on the lights, turn the thermostat to this, turn on the TV, play such and such on the TV, go to HBO Max, do this, do this. I'm using Google Assistant, my voice, to control my house, like literally. And I feel like that's something I use every day. Now, if I think about, Apple's ecosystem and Samsung's ecosystem, just imagine if I have no work to get done. The computer and the phone and the iPad and everything is just kind of going to be sitting there, just looking at me, waiting for me to do something. While, consistently through the day, I might go from my bedroom to the living room, or I want to light dim, or I want to light brighter, or I want to turn on this light, or I'm watching TV and I can't find my remote and I want to go ahead and change the channel or change to something else, and I just kind of like talk to my speaker, or I'm cleaning up the house, and you know how we do, we play music, and I just play music throughout the whole entire house. It just feels like Google's ecosystem is just so right to me because of this. While Apple and Samsung's, I feel like I gotta be sitting in front of a computer or iPad or a tablet or a phone doing work, and I'm not always working. When I go to work, I get off work, I don't want to come home to doing more work. So this is why Google's ecosystem kind of makes sense. And yeah, I get it. You can use your iPhone or Apple stuff and kind of use Google Assistants and Samsung and stuff like that, but it's just not as seamless using Google products with Google products. And that's kind of my point. Let's get back to that. What I like about the Pixel. Well, there's really 5 things that I really love about the Pixel that kind of keeps me using it day to day as a phone. And those things are Google Assistant integration, the animations, camera quality, not video, but the camera quality, the AI. I love what Google's doing with AI, and feature drops. It's the only phone on the market that you get excited about feature drops. Everybody does. No other company makes you feel really good about owning an older phone when it comes to feature drops. Most companies make you have to buy up or get the new one to get these features. But Google kind of like make feature drops a really big deal with Pixels, and it seemed to be working. I get excited every time. Those are the 5 things that pulls me away from every other brand, and why I feel like Google right now is unmatched when it comes to those things. Now, I told you guys that I was going to give you a real review. I feel like I was truthful about everything, how I use the phone, what I do on my phone, and how I feel about a lot of things. And that's the truth. Literally, is the reason why I stick to using a lot of Google products. And I feel like their ecosystem is better because it feels like an ecosystem. While I feel like the phone is better because of the software. I mean, you can sit here and throw out numbers all day at me. You could throw out hardware all day long and say, this person got the better this, better that, better Zoom, better, ecosystem, better connectivity, just better everything. But the experience is what's important. And that is what Google gives me. They have been giving me the best experience, no matter what anybody else is doing. Anyways, everyone, this is Delvon Digital, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.